Should I back the Hasbro HasLab Star Wars Razor Crest? Hi, I'm Chris Cook, and today I'm going to be covering absolutely everything that we know about this upcoming $350 toy and whether you should buy it. Welcome along, and if you're new to the channel, please click the subscribe button and also the notification bell to make sure that you get a heads up anytime we drop a new video. Now, like I said in the opening, today we're going to be covering all the bits and pieces that we know about the HasLab Razor Crest, and hopefully it'll help you decide whether it's something that you want to jump on board with. So this is going to be things like all the details about it, how you can actually get it, the price, some of the unlock tiers that are coming up and what have you, and also hopefully highlight a couple of the unanswered questions that we've got. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get into it. Right, for those of you who've been living under the rock for the past year, the Razor Crest is the signature ride of The Mandalorian, the titular character of Disney Plus's streaming series. Kind of think of it like the Millennium Falcon is to Han Solo. They're that sort of pairing and go together really well. Now, during the series, it got beat up, taken apart by Jawas, fired upon in various different battles, but it's the ship that carried him from planet to planet and helped him throughout the entire series. So quite an iconic, or certainly becoming, I would say, an iconic part of the Star Wars lore. HasLab is Hasbro's crowdfunding platform, originally designed to get those otherwise impossible projects into reality. Previous projects have included Jabba's sail barge from Star Wars, Marvel's Sentinel from the X-Men series, and Unicron from Transformers. The idea is that Hasbro get a minimum number of customers, that's you, to commit to paying for the item ahead of time, about 12 months in advance, and when it's finally ready, you'll receive it on your doorstep. Now, some have expressed concerns over this method of funding things. Obviously, when the campaign comes to an end, you pay your money at that point. You then have to wait 12 months before you actually receive the item. Now, like I say, so far Hasbro have come through on all of their products. They have released them to the paying customers as it goes along, but they have held onto your money for 12 months without you having any product at the end of this. That is something you just do need to be aware of as part of this program. So when you finally receive this item in about 12 months' time, you will receive the Razor Crest vehicle itself. Now, this is a highly detailed model. They're currently only showing these renderings that you can see on screen at the moment, but as time goes on, as more and more bits and pieces become fully fleshed out, they will release clearer images of some of the production versions and also the painted models that go along with it along the way. Now you can see here you've got various removable panels all the way across the ship. The part of the series where the Mandalorian ship is stripped for parts by those off-world Jawas, and he has to then try and get all the parts back for his ship. So you can, like I say, take all the pieces off, all the panels, and do all that as part of it. If you take a look inside the ship, you can also see a weapons locker, which is again shown very early on in that very first episode. Now, every single weapon within that locker you can take out and will fit into the Mandalorian's hand. You can also see in these images that there is a refresher, a Star Wars toilet if you will, and also the hiding place that the child, baby Yoda if you will, hides in during the episode with the bounty hunters. So plenty of different features inside there, and that's just in the main cargo hold. As you can see, lots of the doors also open up, and at the back as well. If you look at this image here, you can see the hooks for the carbonite blocks, again shown in the very first episode of the series where he hangs up the Rick Jewell gang. A little bit more on that in a bit. Now, if we move over to the front, you can see the cockpit for the Mandalorian. This has space for 3 figures. The Mandalorian obviously at the front and 2 seats at the back, which is what's seen in the show. Hasbro also highlighted that you can remove the wings, so that should you wish to display the ship on a shelf, you can take off the back wing, place it so that that side's facing the wall, and it'll still fit on the shelf quite nicely without falling off. But like I say, both wings will come off depending on which way you want to display it. It also comes with a full set of removable landing gear, again so that you can display this ship in flight or nicely landed on a landing pad. As you can see, this ship is absolutely loaded with tiny details all the way throughout, so you're getting that real vintage collection quality all across this ship. Now, one of the benefits of doing this as a crowd-funded project is that there are various extras that Hasbro can put into this package as more and more backers commit to buying it. Now, the initial goal was just to get past 6,000. If they had 6,000 backers, then the project was a go. They made that target within just over 24 hours. Slight issues with the website, but they got there. So just over 24 hours, this thing was backed. So the first unlock for this project was an escape pod that actually fitted into the very top of the vehicle. You can see some images of that on screen now. That was made available once 8,000 backers had committed to buying this product. So obviously, move past that one now. That's definitely guaranteed you will be getting that if you back this yourself. Moving on to the second unlock, and this is probably my favourite unlock of the ones that they've revealed so far, the carded Baby Yoda, or the child, depending on how you like to do it. Now, the child itself is going to be the correct scale for the vintage collection, so it's going to be absolutely tiny. It's going to come with a little bowl of soup, a pram, which is going to be vac metalized. Now, this is the first time Hasbro have actually done vac metalization on a Star Wars product in a very long time. The vac metalization, we understand, is going to be exclusive to this product, and it's also going to come on a vintage collection card back. So because the card back is going to be exclusive to the HasLab project, you may want to keep yours sealed on card if you do get one. You may want to end up buying two, just to make sure you can have one to open and one to keep carded. It's entirely up to you on that side of things. I'll be keeping mine closed if I do get one. I also understand that they are going to be releasing the same sort of components or similar further down the line, although possibly not vac metalized. So obviously you have to make your decision on that one. So the third unlock is 4 carbonite blocks. Now these again all align to episode 1 of The Mandalorian, as I mentioned earlier. The first one is the Mithril, who you actually see being captured in that very first episode. He's the blue guy with all the gills and what have you, played by Horatio Sands in the series. So he's the first one. He's going to be available with this set. Now the next 3 blocks are thought to be the Rick Jewell gang. Now we haven't had confirmation from this from either Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau, but it was heavily hinted at around the time in some of the interviews and some of the behind the scenes stuff that they were doing. Now the Rick Jewell gang, as you can see here, are from the Marvel Comics, the original run back in the late 70s and early 80s. They were obviously a bunch of characters who were up to no good, hence the reason they look like they've ended up in carbonite here. Now the first one is a human male. This is thought to be Rick Jewell. Fairly similar in looks to the comic book version, but again still haven't had that confirmed. The second character is a Rhodian. Now this is thought to be Chiodo, again one of the characters from the Jewell gang. Looks like a decent sculpt on there. You can see in the top of the carbonite blocks that little bar. Now that's going to be used for hooking them onto the sliding hooks that we saw in one of the other videos of the Razor Crest. Now the final member of the Rick Jewell gang is Danny. Looks to be a humanoid female. As you can see in the picture from Marvel Comics, she's more of a pinky red kind of colour, but when you're encased in carbonite, you can't really tell what colour people are anyway. Now the carbonite blocks are going to be unlocked when we reach 13,000 backers. We've already sailed past the 8,000, like I say, and the 10,000 to get the Baby Yoda, so this is the next tier that we are looking towards as we speak. Previous projects have had other tiers. I think there was a 4th tier to the Marvel Sentinel, so there may yet be another surprise in store if we can reach that 13,000, if they want to push it just that little bit further. I think there's some scope for some other unlocks with this, but we'll come to that in the unanswered questions section. So one of the big selling points about the HasLab sail barge, which was the first one that they did, was that there were plenty of figures already available to populate the barge and make it look fantastic when you got it all set up. With The Mandalorian, we haven't got a huge amount of characters at the moment. So far, we've only got The Mandalorian himself, Cara Dune, a Remnant Stormtrooper, and also the Death Trooper, I suppose you could sort of add in there as well. There have been a couple of other ones. There was a Clatoonian Raider released with the AT-ST, but you don't really see that one particularly close to the Razor Crest itself. The Imperial Troop Transport that made an appearance in the final episodes of the show also has been released in the Vintage Collection, as has the Imperial TIE Fighter, which was released a few months prior to that as well. There are obviously some other bits and pieces that you will no doubt have from your previous collection. Plenty of Stormtroopers from across the waves. Like I mentioned, the Death Trooper was released in a previous version as well. But Hasbro have committed that any of the characters that you have seen interact with the Razor Crest will become available over the course of the next year or so, to make sure that you are not just getting a big ship with nothing to populate it, you're actually getting some characters to go along with it. For example, they have already announced that the Incinerator Trooper from the tail end of the season is going to be a Walmart exclusive coming later this year. Now I'm predicting we're probably going to get some things like the Off-World Jawa. That's an easy repaint for them to do. Plenty of Stormtroopers out there. We're hearing a lot of rumours about Moff Gideon, the Armourer, Beskar Mandalorian, who we're actually going to be getting within this set. He's also going to be released single-carded later on in the year, but with a plastic cape, whereas the one that you get with this ship is going to be a soft goods one. So again, you're not going to be left with nothing to put on this ship. Okay, so as I said at the top of the video, this is going to be $350. Now, $349.99, not going to split the differences on that. And like the same, that's going to be exactly the same, but converted into pounds for us UK buyers over here. £349.99. Now, what I will say is that you won't get this cheaper anytime later. This isn't going to be at retail, so it's not going to be available to discount or clearance prices. This is a one and done. You have to get it at this stage to get it at all. The aftermarket prices for things like Jabba's sail barge have been at least double. So you're going to be forking out quite a lot more if you don't get it at this stage. If you can't afford it at this stage, I'm not going to recommend that you go into debt trying to afford it. But do bear in mind that just getting cold feet about it and not jumping on at this stage, it will cost you more further down the road. What some collectors have done to try and offset the cost of the barge is actually sell some of the pack-in items. For instance, Yak Face that came with the barge, he was a special one that came with the silver coin. Now that was only available in the barge, and some collectors were selling theirs on to ensure that they covered half the cost of their barge. It worked quite well for them. Maybe something that you could do with the child on that vintage card, knowing that it is going to be coming, or a similar version is going to be coming later on in the year. So if after everything you've heard so far you want to go and back this vehicle, you can do that in one of two ways that I'm aware of. First, if you are living in the United States of America or Canada, you can go directly to Hasbro Pulse and order it there. You just go to the website. One of the earliest links is for the HasLab Razor Crest. Click on that and it's all there. I'll leave a link in the description down below. If you're in the UK, Zavvi are selling it for, like I say, £349.99. That, you just go to the site. Again, it's one of the earliest links there that you can see, but I will also leave a link in the description down below. As far as countries in the rest of the world, I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about it being released further internationally. You may be able to get one of your collector friends in the US or the UK to ship it to themselves first and then have it exported across over to you, wherever you are. It is going to be a very big item, so that could be quite a costly way of doing things. Also, you don't know how damaged it's going to get along the way. Plenty of pitfalls in that, so just be careful if that's the route you are looking to take. I understand that some Australian viewers could also potentially get that through Zavvi as well. Don't quote me on that bit, I haven't heard anything confirmed on that. So I've told you everything I do know about this project. There's still plenty that we don't know. Things like what the actual final paint scheme is going to look like. I've seen a lot of people out there asking, is it going to be vac metalized all over? Personally, I feel that's the wrong way to go. Yes, it's a shiny ship, but it's not chrome vac metalized shiny. I think they can do a much more nicer metallic finish to it with a particular nice paint application. Hopefully that'll be released before the end of the backing phase, but if not, it will be reviewed before you actually receive it on your doorstep if you go ahead and order it. One of the other things that we haven't had answers is if there will be any light and sound effects. Now Tim over at Bosk Bounty has highlighted a couple of places to me where there could be lights and sounds added. A couple of them are under the wings just here. Now you can see that that actually reflects what is shown in the show. There's also a couple of places on the front of the ship on one of the doors, again seen on the show, but I'm not so convinced on that. If that door opens, it's going to make it very difficult to put any lighting in that particular area. We'll see what happens with that. It may be the 4th tier unlock that potentially could come up. Patrick did hint on one of the live streams that there was room for a 4th unlock, but didn't expand on it any further at that time. I suppose a lot of that depends on how quickly we get to that 3rd one and get those Rick Jewel Gang Carbonite figures unlocked. One of the other things we haven't had any answers about is what the box art will look like. Now, previous HasLab campaigns, we haven't actually seen that during the backing phase at all either. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we're not going to see what the Razor Crest is going to look like in a box until the backing campaign has actually finished and is out of the way. So that being said, you may want to bear that in mind as part of your purchasing decision. The other thing is that we don't know if the Mandalorian that comes with the ship is going to be carded or not. I'm hoping he isn't, personally. I think if he goes in that ship with that cloth cape, again, I don't really want to be opening the carded figures from that. I'm going to be looking to get duplicates of those down the road when they come into the main line. It's a far cheaper way of doing it rather than buying 2 HasLabs just to open one of those figures and keep one carded. There are plenty of people out there that will do that. That's not something that I will be doing. So taking all of that into account, am I any closer to actually deciding whether I want to buy this thing or not? When it first was announced on that Hasbro live stream, I kind of looked at it and went, it's nice, but it didn't have that same wow factor that the Jabba's sail barge had. That was a huge item. It looked fantastic, the detail was there, it was something that collectors had wanted for a long time. The Razor Crest, absolutely I do want a version of it, but I wasn't sure that the HasLab project was necessarily the right way to go about it. I feel it would have done fantastically at retail, maybe with a few less details added onto it, less removable panels, maybe not the escape pod and this, that and the other, but I think it would have been absolutely fantastic and given a chance for the general public who aren't even aware of HasLab a chance to get it. All that being said, the way that they've run the campaign and released the little bits and pieces along the way, I'm looking at it now and going, actually yeah, I think I really do want that. I'm going to be backing this thing. This video actually talking it through has helped me come to that decision. I hope it's helped you in a similar sort of way. And yeah, so I'll be looking to go through Zavi and put my order in. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I also hope it's helped you come to a decision about whether to back the Razor Crest or not. If you are backing the Razor Crest, do drop a comment down below to give it a thumbs up on that. And if you aren't, please drop a comment and let me know what would a 4th tier be that would actually make you drop down the money and jump on board with this project. Either way, let me know, like I say, down below. Until next time.